Hey, here we go. All right, Virgos, let's see what we got here. Virgos, we start with the Queen of Swords. Could be Libra, Gemini, Aquarius energy around Virgo. It could be somebody, maybe a mother figure who wants to give some advice to Virgo. We have a Queen of Cups. Does somebody have something to say to Virgo in regards to love or the way Virgo loves? It feels like advice. I don't know why. I guess because we don't have Virgo here at all. We have a couple of feminines, or we have somebody who wants to like give Virgo some kind of advice about the way they love with the Page of Cups. It might be something to do with forgiveness. Hang on. Be more direct. This is about truth. This is about emotion. And this is about forgiveness. We have the Hierophant and we have the World card. I almost feel like somebody is trying to give Virgo advice, and it could come from a feminine, it could come from the mother figure, it could just come from the feminine energy, okay? This could be Virgo's own higher self talking to them, if Virgo identifies as a divine feminine right now. And bear in mind, we all have yin yang within us, so we can be a masculine identifying as a feminine or vice versa, because we're just talking about energy, we're not talking about gender, okay? So the moon is that receptive energy, the gravitational pull, the magnetism of the feminine, okay? So right now we have strong female energy that is like either helping Virgo to open up their crown chakra and say, if you want a new beginning, Virgo, now is a great time to do that. Especially if we're surrounding the topics of marriage. I don't know if this is advice coming in yet that's right from like Virgo's higher self, because Virgo's going to be married soon. And it's like, darling, you're going to have marriage. You're going to have an option. And this could either be that someone who Virgo previously thought they cut out of their life could be coming back around. And that could be the person Virgo will wind up with. Could be Taurus, could be Capricorn, doesn't have to be. Or it's like be prepared. You might want to forgive someone that you never thought you could, because that's actually still the person that you love and that you're going to marry. Or it is saying, Virgo, you're about to shift, or you're awakening to the fact that there's like, in love, when there's true love, people that can have conflicts find a way to forgive each other. Now, there are obvious rule breakers, deal breakers on that, right? And please just know, I never tell any stories about people that are abusive. And to me, abuse is if you intentionally try to hurt somebody because that's what you like to do, that is like no-go zone. And I won't tell stories about characters like that. We have characters that make mistakes. We have characters that wind up, hurting people's feelings, but because humans make mistakes when they don't mean to, or when they don't realize that their actions, they're being thoughtless. But I don't tell stories about like abusers. Okay. So please just know that. So this story, we have to take that out of the equation here. If there is somebody that Virgo might actually like wind up saying, you know what, relationships are about forgiveness, I would be like, yeah, but within reason. We don't take back abusers. And I just have to be really blunt about that, because I'm never gonna, I always stand with victims, not with the abusers. So with this, the fact that we have that 10 of Cups, this is about happiness. Virgo's going to have a really happy outcome. They're going to have a really happy marriage. Now, if this Virgo is saying, well, I don't want to be married, then Virgo doesn't have to be, of course. But for this story, for this fictional character, there's this awareness coming in that they are actually going to be married. I don't even know if Virgo knows who this person is yet. I'm not sure about that, but there is a shift coming within Virgo right now. It's actually already underway, that is preparing them for something that maybe it's like something in Virgo has evolved, has changed, has reached this point where, and I almost am hinting right now that it feels as if something's come full circle and someone might be coming into Virgo's life. This could be somebody Virgo knew and loved before, and maybe a lot of time has passed, and maybe a lot of things have healed, and maybe there's like a fresh starts coming up. We have a 10 of Wands. This is about laying down obstacles, and we have the Knight of Pentacles. It has been a long time coming. Can I just see, is this really somebody from Virgo's past, or do we have just simply Virgo saying, you know what? I am prepared to be in a long-lasting, loving relationship, and I know that oftentimes what it takes to have a successful romance is giving each other some grace. I am prepared to love someone, let them love me, and know right up front that sometimes, we're going to have to give each other apologies and, give forgiveness because nobody's perfect. It could just be that mentality. This is really a gentle energy around Virgo. And I'm not saying Virgo was like tough as nails before and like unforgiving or anything like that. But I am saying that with this Wheel of Fortune card in general, let's just say that the more time we spend on this planet, the more sometimes we say, I know the difference between like what's really, really important and what are real deal breakers and what are just like, you know what? That's not a big deal. It feels like Virgo has reached a point. I'm sorry, my clip is really hurting my head right now. It's pinching at my scalp. So excuse me, guys. That Wheel of Fortune says, I think Virgo's in a very different energy. Ace of Wands. Virgo wants more love, more passion, more desire. They have shifted a little bit on what their deal breakers are. It just honestly feels like Virgo's in a really like reasonable, loving. I also think that they have the capability of understanding that we all need reassurance. We all need to feel, wanted and valuable and seen. And I almost think Virgo is going to be so good at telling a partner, making somebody know that they're really like very wanted, and telling a partner what they want in return. I think basically this Virgo's like communication is like it. I know all that. I know that that's the biggest thing. Maybe Virgo has reflected and said, in the past, some of the things that either made relationships not work out were maybe I never said everything that I needed to. Maybe I didn't give somebody forgiveness, or I didn't, offer an apology myself that, in retrospect, there were some things I could have done different. I think that that's the wisdom of aging, knowing more about where there's, sometimes we don't have the right boundaries up and we have to learn how to put up boundaries. And then also on the flip side, we think back and we go, I would have handled that differently now in retrospect. And I would say that's what the internal advice is. And I don't think this is coming from outside of Virgo. I think Virgo's divine feminine energy has just like really stepped up. And there is some, I don't know, maybe Virgo's getting like a tarot card reading right now. Granted, that person is like channeling spiritual messages, but let me just change decks and say, is Virgo getting a spiritual message channeled? And if that is the case, what is this message? I think we're going to go with this deck. Because I keep feeling like all of this is like some sense of awareness that is opening up. Wow, we have Justice. If there is a channeled spiritual message, I still think it is simply coming from Virgo is seeing a scenario in a different light. Now, they could have dealt with a Libra in the past, and they're thinking back to what was right, what was wrong. You notice how like somebody is like holding, like almost either pointing to their ear or holding a hold of their hair, or, it's like, okay, well, I did listen with one side of my brain, but maybe I didn't consider everything from their side as well. So in truth, the things that were imbalanced and where there was an injustice, that I could feel differently, slightly differently now about the way somebody treated me. Maybe I thought they were just, I'd never talk to them again. And I might actually feel a little differently now. Look, if somebody shouldn't be in Virgo's life, then by all means, don't let them back in. But in this fictional story, we have Virgo looking at a situation differently than they ever thought that they would. With the Chariot, there's a certain amount of like emotional stability now, and Virgo is actually moving on from a situation that maybe wasn't quite as black and white as they thought it was. They've seen things through a third lens, a third perspective that they didn't think they would see through. And I keep picturing that there's something about, maybe Virgo saying, I could only see it from my lens, and it was like, that's not fair, that's not okay. But now that I've moved on emotionally from the way I, felt or reacted about it, I actually can see like a more expanded vision of this. And if that's the message coming in, it may be because this person is close to reapproaching Virgo. And maybe there is this energy of the person I never thought I'd talk to again is actually really wanting to set things right with me. Well, then I have to be in a place where I could accept their apology. And I almost think that that's the thing that's changing inside of Virgo's heart. With this Page of Wands, look, here's what I'm going to say. Please don't hate the messenger, you guys. Remember, these are fictional stories. So if it's triggering you and making you mad, please just click off. Don't stick around and be angry at me. But it says in this story, Virgo is realizing, even in their own mind, as they're either getting a tarot card reading or as they're getting some spiritual channeled messages, whether it's through their own open crown chakra or through some other person, giving them, something to contemplate here. Virgo is aware when they think back, this person actually did love me. I know that it was true. They wanted to move toward me. We had romance and it was beautiful. Look at how romantic this is. Just everything's so luxurious and it's so detailed and intricate. And we have music, and we have something here where it was a relationship that barely got off the ground, but the potential there was so real and it was so sincere. And it feels as if, let me just ask, is it that Virgo is saying, I'm thinking back a little differently, and God, I wanted them and they wanted me. And frankly, perhaps even though at the time I said I would never talk to them again, for some reason my heart has shifted and changed. If this person, I see it with a different vision now. If this person had some desire to say sorry to me, I would not only accept the apology, but I might also have an apology to give to them, because there was a lot of desire here. I think that there still is passion here. And I just think it's great for Virgo to be acknowledging, if there is still somebody out there and my energy is changing in regards to how I feel about them, it may be that this is an unfinished symphony. We have those music notes here again. I keep feeling like Virgo and this person didn't get to go far enough together to see if they could be compatible. Okay, so this is a very specific message, right? This relationship didn't get to evolve far enough for Virgo to know, were they a scoundrel? Were they not? Page of Wands. Look, it really looks like once upon a time, Virgo and this person both thought we were supposed to be married. We were supposed to do that. I'm sorry. That was Knight of Wands and Page of Wands. I think I misspoke on that. I don't know what I said out loud, but Knight of Wands and Page of Wands. My apologies. It comes across like I almost think, and maybe this is Virgo saying, I'm open to this. I feel differently about this person. If they are the person that I actually felt I was supposed to marry a long time ago, then we had a problem, and then, whatever happened, and I had a very poor opinion of them, and maybe it wasn't 100% fair, or maybe I didn't know enough information for sure to have the opinion that I had about the situation. If that is coming back around, and in truth, I still wish we could do it all over again and see if we had a different outcome this time, I would approach that whole situation differently this time. I would be maybe a little softer around the edges, maybe a little more communicative, maybe, a little more easy to give and receive. Let me just ask this. I mean, I think that's a beautiful energy to be in, unless Virgo is painting a picture of something that is like, no, we don't want to unpaint a reality so that it looks prettier. But I don't know that I see that in this. This just looks like Virgo is sensing, I'm going to be married soon. I just think that there is this shift. Virgo is unblocking energy. And at the end of the day, even if it's just to say, I can let go of what happened between myself and another person. Maybe I never had full, information, or maybe I've just forgiven, or maybe, you know what, for what it's worth, we tried something and it didn't work out, but I'm not going to harbor hard feelings toward them, because that in turn closes off my own heart. So I'm unblocking the way I felt about them, because in turn, maybe that was blocking the way I felt about all love. And I actually sense that I'm going to be married not too far from now, and I'm going to have a really happy romance, and I'm unblocking my heart to that. Page of Pentacles. We definitely have Virgo opening up. They're blossoming like a flower. That is how I feel right now. Like, I don't know if somebody has a Christmas cactus in their house that is in bloom right now, but I feel as if something is blossoming. Four of Cups. This opening and the way Virgo feels about this person from their past is actually touching their heart. I'm not saying this is the only person out there. Virgo could meet somebody entirely new, but I am going to say, when it comes to Virgo thinking about the specific person, they have been sitting in a place of regrets. They have wanted to talk to Virgo, and they may be in a much more mature energy themselves. Hang on. What is it that you've been thinking about Virgo? Because Virgo's changed a lot of their mindset about what happened in the past. Page of Swords, 8 of Wands, 10 of Wands. What they've been thinking about Virgo is, they've been spying on Virgo for a while. They've been thinking about wanting to gravitate toward Virgo, go toward Virgo. You heard that timer beep. That's air fryer's done. But it's like, maybe the time's up. Maybe they've evolved also. That 10 of Wands is here. So there's a completion. The more they've spied on Virgo, the more they've thought about things with Virgo, the more they have realized there was so much left unsaid. There's so many things that they would have done differently, like things that they would have laid down. Ace of Pentacles sideways. They wish that they had tried harder with Virgo, whomever this person is. And maybe it's because they're more mature now. 8 of Cups and Queen of Wands. They know why Virgo walked away. And maybe it's because they didn't offer Virgo the new beginning that they should have. They say Virgo stood in their power and in their grace, and I understand completely why Virgo walked away from me. They're taking responsibility for their own actions. Nothing here says that they were like a villain, but it does say they could have been immature. 3 of Cups. But you know what? This person has never not thought of Virgo as like a spectacular person. They've never not seen Virgo as a Queen of Wands, but they really, I feel like they have a heavy longing for Virgo. And if they're in Emperor mode, Virgo, I'm sorry, but in this story, somebody where it wasn't successful with Virgo in the past, they were not mature enough. Maybe Virgo in some ways didn't have all of their, like ability to know how they wanted to handle situations worked out either. Because I think Virgo's going to be a much more, like, on one hand, I think they have better boundaries. I think they communicate better now. And I think that Virgo is also softer while still having, like I said, deal breakers and things intact. But I can't help but say, I think Virgo, somebody that wasn't right for Virgo in the past is now right for Virgo. And I feel like they're on the cusp of coming into Virgo. And I think that all of this is like the preparation, the energetic preparation. Virgo might be thinking an awful lot. Like, I almost expect to walk in and I have a person who's a part of my life. It's like Virgo's almost like sensing that there's somebody's energy around them that's going to be their long-term partner. Even though I cannot say that this Emperor has come in yet, but they're thinking so heavily about Virgo, and they're so different now in the way they look at Virgo. Let me just ask one last question. What do you really want with Virgo? Knight of Pentacles. They want what they always wanted with Virgo on one hand. It's been a long, slow road, but they are standing right outside the gates of Virgo's life. This person, I feel like they want to come home. I feel like they want to be with Virgo. Queen of Pentacles and the Magician. I think this is the person Virgo marries. I'm sorry. It does look like it's somebody from the past. They could be an Aries. They could be a Libra. But it's wild because this person is actually still the right one for Virgo, just at a different time and place in life. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks so much for giving it a thumbs up and